TIFU by accidentally replying all to a company-wide email with my vacation plans to escape everyone. So I've been planning this vacation for months. Needed a real break from work, the kind where you turn off your phone and disappear into the wilderness and just breathe fresh air. My team, bless their souls, can be a bit much. Constant meetings, endless emails, the office chatter. It's all been getting to me lately. Hence the escape to nature plan. I meticulously crafted an out-of-office reply. Nothing too revealing, just a standard out-of-office until date. Will respond upon return type of thing. Figured that was professional and polite. Set it up in my email settings, tested it with a dummy email, all good, or so I thought. This morning, bright and early before even my first cup of coffee, I got an email notification. It was from HR, a company-wide announcement about new health benefits. Important stuff, I guess, but my brain was still in weekend mode. I glanced at it, mentally filed it away for later, and went to delete it. Except, instead of delete, my sleep-deprived fingers hit reply all. Before I could even register what was happening, I started typing. My brain, still half dreaming of mountains and silence, decided this was the perfect opportunity to vent my work frustrations. And vent I did. I wrote about needing to escape the office madness, and how I was drowning in meetings and emails, and how this vacation was my sanity-saving mission. Maki, I even threw in a line about needing to recharge away from the constant office noise to be a functional human again. Dramatic, slightly passive-aggressive, exactly what you don't want to send to the entire company. I hit send. Then, the horrifying realization dawned on me. Reply all to the entire company, including the CEO, all the VPS, HR who sent the original email, guess my team, and basically everyone who has a company email address. My stomach dropped. My coffee suddenly tasted like ash. I frantically tried to recall the email, but it was too late. It was out there, floating in the digital ether, ready to be read by hundreds of people, including my boss's boss's boss. I spent the next hour in a cold sweat, refreshing my inbox, expecting a flood of angry replies or a summons to HR. Instead, silence. Unsettling, deafening silence. It's almost worse than getting yelled at. Are they ignoring it? Are they all laughing at me? Is HR drafting my termination papers as we speak? The day has been agonizing. Every time I walk past someone in the hallway, I feel like they're secretly judging me. Every email notification makes me jump. I haven't heard anything directly, but the office atmosphere feels different, charged, like everyone knows something I desperately wish they didn't. My vacation starts tomorrow. I'm still going because, I need to escape more than ever now. But instead of excitement, I just feel a deep looming sense of professional doom. Maybe the wilderness will have better job opportunities. I just hope when I get back, I still have a job to return to. And maybe, just maybe, everyone will have forgotten about my epic email blunder. Probably not though. This is gonna haunt me for years. Lesson learned, never check emails before coffee, and double check who you're replying to, especially when your brain is still half asleep and plotting your escape from reality. Oh man, that reply all fear is real. Hitting send before coffee? Big mistake. This is the kind of workplace horror story we all secretly dread, isn't it? If you're enjoying this relatable disaster, smash that like button and subscribe for more TIFU tales. TIFU by using my smart fridge to prank my roommate and accidentally ordering 50 pounds of onions. So, my roommate, let's call him Mark, is a bit of a neat freak. Everything has to be perfectly organized, labels facing forward in the pantry, shoes lined up just so by the door, the whole 9 yards. It can be a little much sometimes, but hey, at least the apartment is clean. Recently, Mark got a new girlfriend, Sarah. Sarah is, she's nice enough, but she's really into health fads. Think kombucha brewing, essential oils for everything, and gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, basically flavor-free cooking. She's been subtly and not so subtly influencing Mark, and our once junk food fueled apartment is slowly morphing into a health food haven. Now, I'm not against healthy eating, but I draw the line at kale smoothies for breakfast, and Mark's newfound obsession with organic, locally sourced produce is starting to get expensive. So naturally, I decided to prank him. We have one of those fancy smart fridges with a touch screen and built-in apps. You know, the kind that's supposed to make your life easier, but mostly just makes you feel inadequate because your fridge is smarter than you are. One of the apps is a grocery ordering app. You can scan barcodes, create lists, and even order directly from the fridge screen. My brilliant plan was to add something ridiculous to Mark's grocery list using the fridge app while he wasn't looking. Something harmless but absurd. I thought about adding like 100 boxes of cereal or maybe a giant inflatable unicorn. But then I saw the produce section in the app and inspiration struck. Onions, lots and lots of onions. Mark hates onions. He's one of those people who orders burgers with no onions, please, absolutely no onions. The idea of him opening the fridge to find a mountain of onions was just too funny to pass up. So late last night after Mark went to bed, I crept into the kitchen and added onions, 50 pounds to his grocery list on the fridge app. I even selected next day delivery for maximum comedic effect. I chuckled to myself, picturing his horrified face when he opened the door to an onion avalanche. Prank success, or so I thought. This morning the doorbell rang. I was still half asleep, so Mark answered it. I heard some muffled talking, then the sound of heavy boxes being dragged into the apartment. I assumed it was his usual grocery delivery, maybe a little heavier than usual. I was still basking in the anticipation of my onion prank reveal. Then Mark walked into my room looking confused and slightly panicked. "Dude," he said, "did you order something weird from the fridge last night? Because there are like 50 pounds of onions in the living room." 50 pounds, not a joke, 50 pounds of onions. Turns out, when I added onions, 50 pounds to the list, the app took it literally. It didn't ask for clarification, it didn't suggest a more reasonable quantity. It just ordered 50 pounds of onions, and Mark, being the trusting soul he is, hadn't even checked the list before hitting confirm order on his phone this morning. Our living room now resembles a pungent onion storage facility. Boxes and boxes of onions stacked high, emanating a powerful oniony aroma that's already seeping into every corner of the apartment. Sarah is surprisingly thrilled. Apparently onions are amazing for gut health and essential for detoxing. She's already planning to make onion broth and onion face masks. Mark, on the other hand, is on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He's frantically Googling how to get rid of onion smell and onion allergy symptoms. And me, I'm just standing here surrounded by a mountain of onions, realizing that my harmless prank has backfired spectacularly. We now have enough onions to feed a small army, or maybe just repel vampires for the next decade. And Mark, he's not laughing. Not even a little bit. Lesson learned, smart fridges are dumb, pranks can go horribly wrong, and maybe, just maybe, I should start liking onions, because we're going to be eating them for the foreseeable future. So, TIFU by trusting my GPS and ending up on a scenic route that was actually a goat path. Okay, so I consider myself a fairly competent driver. I've driven in cities, on highways, through snowstorms, you name it. I'm not afraid of a little adventure behind the wheel, but today I learned a valuable lesson. Never blindly trust your GPS, especially when it promises a scenic route. It started innocently enough. I was driving to a friend's cabin in the mountains. Beautiful location. Remote, exactly what I needed for a weekend getaway. I plugged the address into my GPS, set off, and cruised along the highway, enjoying the unfolding scenery. After about an hour, the GPS announced in its cheerful, slightly condescending voice, "In 500 feet, take the exit for Scenic Route 12. Scenic Route? Sounded lovely. I figured it would be a pleasant detour through some picturesque countryside, maybe with a few overlooks or charming little towns. I was picturing rolling hills, maybe a babbling brook, definitely not what I was about to encounter. I took the exit and the road immediately narrowed. Okay, a little narrower than expected but still paved. The trees closed in, the scenery started to get genuinely pretty, and I thought, hey, this scenic route thing is actually pretty nice. But famous last words. A few miles in, the pavement started to deteriorate. Potholes appeared, then cracks, then patches of gravel. Still manageable, I thought. My trusty sedan could handle a little rough road. The GPS, bless its digital heart, remained unfazed, confidently directing me deeper and deeper into the wilderness. Then, the pavement ended altogether. Suddenly, I was on a dirt road. A bumpy, dusty dirt road that looked less like a road and more like a logging trail. Recalculating, the GPS chirped cheerfully as if this was perfectly normal. I considered turning back, but I'd already come quite a ways, and the GPS was still promising I'd reach my destination eventually. Stubbornness kicked in, so I can do this, I muttered to myself, gripping the steering wheel a little tighter. The road continued to degrade. It became narrower, steeper, and rockier. The trees pressed in even closer, branches scraping against my car. I started to hear unsettling scraping noises from underneath my vehicle. Scenic Route 12 was rapidly transforming into Off-Roading Challenge 12. Then the goats appeared, not just a few goats, a herd of goats, blocking the road, staring at me with those unsettling rectangular pupils. These weren't your cute petting zoo goats, these were mountain goats, wild, rugged, and clearly unimpressed by my presence. I stopped the car, unsure what to do. Honk? They looked like they might charge my car if I honked. Wait them out? Who knew how long they'd be there? Try to drive around them? The road was barely wider than my car at this point, with a steep drop-off on one side. Scenic was definitely not the word that came to mind anymore. Terrifying goat gauntlet was closer. After a tense standoff involving much gesturing and slow, cautious movements, I managed to inch my car past the goat herd, one agonizing foot at a time. They didn't move, just glared at me with goatly disdain as I squeezed through. The road after the goats was even worse. It was barely a path at this point. More like a goat trail, actually. Steep inclines, hairpin turns, loose rocks everywhere. My poor sedan was groaning and protesting with every bump and scrape. I was pretty sure I was losing parts of my undercarriage with each passing mile. The GPS, still blissfully unaware of the vehicular abuse I was enduring, kept saying things like, "Continue straight for 0.2 miles straight." There was nothing straight about this goat path. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the scenic route spat me out onto a real road again. Pavement. Glorious, smooth, blessedly flat pavement. I pulled over, heart pounding, hands shaking, and inspected my car. It looked rough, scratches, dents, mud splattered everywhere, and I was pretty sure I heard some new unsettling rattles. I eventually made it to my friend's cabin hours later than expected, stressed out, and with a car that sounded like it was held together by duct tape and prayers. My friend, when he saw my car and heard my story, burst out laughing. "Scenic Route 12?" he said, wiping tears from his eyes. "Dude, that's not a scenic route, that's a logging road that hasn't been maintained since the 70s. And yeah, the goats love it up there." Lesson thoroughly learned. Scenic routes are not always scenic. GPS can lead you astray, and mountain goats have zero respect for sedans. Next time I'm sticking to the highway, even if it's less scenic. And maybe, just maybe, I'll invest in a car with better off-roading capabilities. Or, a goat-proof car. Because I have a feeling those goats are still up there laughing at me. The scenic route, more like witness protection program, ending with a goat gang. This is peak r/TIFU. For more hilarious fails, hit subscribe and have a great day.